Alright, just making sure this is on. Wow, in the span of not 11 hours, not 11 hours in total, or took 11 hours the whole day, in the span of different days of 11 hours in total, we finally finished Too Dark. More like Too Salty. Freaking Too Salty. By all accounts, I really do want to give this a 5 or a 6 out of 10 because of because of how frustrated it was. Too Dark just frustrated me like no one's business. I was so salty for most of the levels. There was maybe two levels where I didn't feel as salty, but yeah, just two levels out of everything. I just felt so frustrated. It's salty. And when I was trying to have fun, I was feeling more frustrated the more I played this game. So that's kind of how my feeling is. There were some good qualities, but there were some just so many negative that I can't overlook it. So, this is clearly not the walkthrough. I'm not going to do my good morning, good afternoon, because I just beat the game. This is not a walkthrough. This is actually the final verdict of Too Dark. And did I already say that I was going to give it a 5 or 6 out of 10? I really did. But by surprising merits, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. You guys are probably looking at me with a surprised Pikachu face, or just looked pretty shocked of why I'm giving this a 7 out of 10 after I kind of just voiced my distaste at the beginning. I'll explain why. So, like all my verdict videos, either I start with the score immediately and then I explain the negative and the positive, or I start with the positive and negative and then give my final verdict. But I just wanted to get it out of the get go. And I apologize for skipping the credits of Too Dark. Usually I like to pretty much show my credits, the credits of the game developers. I was not going to waste more time with Too Dark in terms of the critics. I just wanted to get it over with. That's kind of how I felt. I wasn't disappointed with the ending. I could not care by the time I got to the end. And it's not anything fault with the game. It was just that how the game was designed in terms of its gameplay. So let's get to the negative. Well, pretty much on terms of the negative, I wouldn't say the gameplay is like 100% clunky. It's just pretty much 90% of the time it's freaking clunky. Case in point, whenever you're just trying to stealth, just tiptoe, you move agonizingly slow just when you need to actually knock anybody out. That's part of the gameplay. It's like gameplay is just across the board, just not great at all. You have to tiptoe very slowly. It's like really one of those old school games. It doesn't move. Your character doesn't move fast, but everybody moves at a supersonic speed. Like you could barely keep up with them, and then you finally keep up with them. You need to make sure you have a weapon that can literally one shot them. Because if you don't, just like as you saw in the final level, you get killed one shot. Everything pretty much kills you one shot in this. But that's not the most frustrating thing with Smith in terms of tiptoeing. In terms of just like getting behind cover, it's the detection. I'll include that with the gameplay too. It's too easy to get detected in this. He doesn't get the best melee weapons. Everybody gets the best guns. His enemies, the boss characters, they all get the best weapons. In terms of Smith, yeah, he does get like the boss characters' weapons, but in terms of his like movement and stealth, it's just so clunky. Another case in point, when you're trying to save these innocent kids just from pretty much any of these facilities, GG, you're done. By the time you even start the level, you're gonna easily get detected. You're gonna get killed immediately. You're not. It's just so hard to save all these kids. I did it. I freaking did it, and I feel accomplished for it because these kids are innocent, and just what they went through, I made sure to save all the kids. That was kind of my accomplishment, my goals. That was my accomplishment because I think these psychopaths and these cannibals and whatever the fat lady was, the fat lady I killed in the second level, I felt extremely bad for these kids. I did. and that's going to be one of my positives. But yeah, in terms of just doing a perfect stealth run, like modern stealth games, Too Dark is not going to be one of those where you're going to have perfected stealth. It's hard to get stealth without killing anybody. Even when I don't want to kill anybody, even if I don't want to kill an innocent person, I kind of have to because the gameplay is just so clunky and so unbalanced that you're gonna have to kill most of everybody just to get the kids through safety. Yeah, so it'll scar the kids. We kind of have no choice. It really sucks. It really, really sucks that you can't do a perfect stealth run like most modern games or even past games have better stealth mechanics than Too Dark. And that's saying something. The stealth is horrible. When the stealth works, it works. And it makes for a tense experience, but most of 90% of the time, the gameplay and the stealth are just so frustratingly clunky that you will not get a perfect stealth run. You will actually have to kill everybody. It's just so. There's a challenge mode, yeah, but there's no replayability. I'm going to include that with the gameplay. There's no replayability. The gameplay is clunky. You're not going to have a perfect stealth run. You get detected too easily in this game, way too easy. And even when you try to go like your absolute best to try to stealth, it's it's just like you're going to get easily detected. There's no certain strategy. And the game, I get it. It's trying to go Nintendo hard and trying to have you plan your own adventures and your own strategy, and it's clever for that. But the gameplay doesn't carry with it. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating. I can't tell you how many times I got frustrated from just the stealth and the gameplay. I just wanted to end. I was like, I'm ready to get done with this level. That's how I felt the entire time. Another negative too, and they know it. If they did art style like this, and what I saw in the trailer for this too, I would have liked the art style, but the pixel art, it's so dated. Compared to pixel art I have played before, like Shovel Knight, Celeste, and the list goes on. Even Dead Cells has some great art style in terms of their pixel art. But Too Dark, it's just too dated. It looks dated. It looks like the graphics was made for a PS1. Or heck, it just feels like some. Yeah, the graphics look like it was made for PS1 when it's not the art style. When it's this art style or the trailer art style, I would have loved it. But until then, the visuals are pretty freaking dated. And I didn't like the visuals. I honestly didn't care about the visuals at all. It just looked so dated. I think that was potential in the developer, so I can't harp on it. But if you're gonna make detail art style like this with the creepy vibes, then come on, give us that art style. It would have been nice to have some, maybe even CGI cutscenes in between levels, but nope. We get Smith's narration, like him trying to do his best Max Payne impression, but he makes it sounds like so. I don't know. I'm not gonna even say about the voice acting because they weren't trying. I could tell. I could tell they're not trying. And besides Smith narration, nobody really talks. They all just make eh, eh, like the fat lady, all the freaking time. So I can't complain about the voice acting because there's really no voice acting besides Smith, so I can't make that a negative at all. But yeah, I can definitely harp on the gameplay and the stealth mechanics being broken, and the visuals being dated too. What other thing too? You know, I like difficulty levels. I like difficult. I like a challenge. I like a challenge in two. And this is kind of my third negative, and I think this will be my last negative. But I like challenges. You guys know me. I play From Software's like no one's business too, and I like challenges like that. Like from even if it's not From Software, if it's like Souls like or From Software like, I love it. And even if there's like a Nintendo hard, like the old school Nintendos, those were still fun because they were fair. Too Dark is not fair. Yeah, Too Dark. Too Dark is not. It is literally trial by fire, or how do I describe it? Trial error, trial and error. That is the best way to describe Too Dark. Every freaking time I had trial and error throughout the whole levels. I can't think of a time where it was trial and error all the time. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Anyway, trial and error, or trial by fire. Ah, endurance is what's gonna get you through Too Dark just to finish the game. You will be frustrated. You will be salty. And you know why? Because all the levels are frustratingly hard. And it's because of the clunky gameplay. There's just a punishing difficulty level. I have played hard games before, but I haven't played games where they're intentionally hard and doesn't even give you like a fair advantage. That's kind of how Too Dark was. It was in some levels, there was just two levels where it just felt generous and actually gave me a breather. I was very, I love the briefest first, the brief respite when we got to go to the bar or the tavern because it wasn't as like it was just a breather from all the frustration and all the crap. But whenever we got to the level, I was just like, oh gosh, we're going to another level, and there's just going to be enemies who can one shot me or hit me several times. And it's just a fact why it's unfair is because Smith is such a slog and a snail to actually hit someone with the melee. It's better for him to stealth it and hit somebody through stealth to actually get through the level. But it's really hard to actually just one shot these guys and not get easily detected. So because of that, I have to say it's a lot of trial and error. The save point, excuse me, but the smoking or the pretty much saving the manual save that makes it helps so much. But there's so much trial and error just to get through everything and then to save the kids. It makes it extremely hard to try to save all the kids because if you don't save the kids, you just feel bad. You really feel bad not trying to save the kids from these child rapists, child slavers. Pretty much, they're exploiting child in the worst way. But there's just so much trial and error. It just frustrated me throughout the whole experience. I didn't like it. I didn't like that I had to reload my save when I screwed up, or if I wanted to go guns blazing and then the kids get killed. Like one particular example, when I was trying to save Hans, I had to pretty much replay that sequence close to 5 to 10 times to make sure I had a strategy right for him. I didn't know the green candy could actually drug the kid just so I can save him. That's what was screwed up about it. I didn't like that. I was just like, I have to knock that guy out to get the other guy. And it took so much planning and meticulous, and meticulous detail. It frustrated me with the trial and error every time. I'm glad that there was a I could save anytime I wanted, but it was so frustrating to do the same sequence over and over again because I screwed up once again, and then it just made me more salty as I kept playing the game. It sucked. It sucked so much. I'm trying to think of any other negative. I did. I really did want to. Hold on. Okay, I think I got over my rant that I can actually stop with the negative too dark. I'm trying to think if I did any other negative or any other thing I can bash on this game. I'm really trying to be generous on it. And even I'm surprised I give it a 7 out of 10. I did want to give a little score, but. And I'm trying to think of any other negatives I had with this game besides the trial and error or the unbalanced difficulty level that just made it Nintendo hard. The gameplay was clunky. Stealth, when they actually wanted to work, was very messed up, or it just didn't work properly. And the visuals were dated too. I think those were my very strong negative, and the game really should thank me for being generous because I really wanted to give this a 5 or 6. I'm not going to stress that. I cannot stress that enough. Now, let's talk about the positive. I was gonna I was gonna crap on the story. I was gonna just be all negative about it. I'm like, this is not great at all. But yeah, even it surprised me. Even though it's not the best story, I think the presentation of like the very I do commend Too Dark. Here's one of my positive presentation from the very opening and the disclaimer at the beginning and every levels you've done. Even though the visuals are dated, I think the presentation and the balls to go to the dark or balls to tackle dark subject matter like this about child exploitation, sexual rapists, child slavery, and all that. Yeah, This is some dark subject matter. And I can't recommend this. I can't recommend this for kids. I can't recommend this for people who are easily offended. This is not for the faint of heart, as they say. This is not, no. But I gotta give it to them. They stuck to their guns and made a game that had some really excellent presentation. It's not like God of War or like those games that just have that for a presentation. But Too Dark knew what it wanted to be. They wanted to definitely show some dark stuff that actually happens in reality with Child. Just what happened to Child. And it's a sad, tragic tale. It's really sad. I don't like that. I don't like seeing kids hurt like this. And it made me cringe and it made me uncomfortable. Too Dark accomplishes that in terms of their presentation. I wouldn't say with their narrative, but in terms of the presentation, I think they pretty much did extremely well on that. And it didn't just apply to their presentation; it did really apply to the levels. That was another positive. I could say more about the story when I thought about it. I think it ended well for how it started. It was straightforward and kind of cliche towards the beginning. We kind of knew where it was going, but the ending, where the Sandra and Martin being the pretty much serial killers trained by an old man who indoctrinated them, that was a good twist. Even I was going like, oh. And the bad ending, even though I wasn't a fan of it, that was kind of like caught me off guard too. I'm like, oh, he gets caught. Oh, this is one of the ending. Or the fact that I do like the approach that you can actually kill his kids or not kill his kids. You don't have to. You can just rescue the kids, all the other kids, and then just continue on and finish the level. I decided to kill his kids because I was trying to go for it. I thought I was gonna reload the save, but I accidentally forgot that once you leave, it's the end of the game. So that's my bad. But you can always YouTube the other ending. It's pretty much the same format. It's just the fact that the kids are going to be arrested and institutionalized, and the old man's going to jail. But his kids are still serial killers, so I think the ending was fitting for what it was. I just don't think it had the strongest story. It definitely didn't have a strong story. But I'm not gonna make that a negative because I think the presentation makes up for it because it's a very strong presentation. And for its dark subject matter that it wanted to tackle, I think it did it in flying colors. There you go, Too Dark. I compliment your pretty much your presentation values. I just did not. I am definitely not condoning child murder and all that. No, no. I think that was completely wrong. I think they had the balls to do the subject matter. I just don't think this is. Darn it. You just can't recommend this. Darn it. Yeah. And even though I crapped on the stealth of how broken it was, here's another shocker. I think the level design and when you actually kind of do like a meticulous detail and strategy, I actually appreciate it. I appreciated the level design and I appreciated the stealth when it is perfected very well. Like case in point, I had like a club and I just was knocking out foes or the coldest. But I like that you have to do a double take of how you want to take out these guys. I'm like, okay, this guy patrols right here, so I know his patrol. I just gotta go here, knock him out real quick, drag his body away. Then I gotta go for the other guy, throw a candy, then hit him again, or break a glass. But I like, even though the gameplay is clunky and stealth is just buggy and broken, you can't deny that the level design and when the stealth actually works, that I kept mentioning, the stealth actually works. And I do like that there's a certain amount of strategy of a you can approach how you want to approach this game or how you want to approach the level. It's kind of one of those like a master plan. It makes you feel like excellent because it was actually pretty cool of playing your every single move to take them out and save the kids, and then save the kids. That was another accomplishment too, and I'll include that with the meticulous strategy and detail because I like to plan my moves before I execute it. And when your plan actually doesn't go away and you just kill everybody or you stealth and not kill anybody, and when you rescue the kids, rescuing the kids is a great sense of accomplishment, more than I thought it would be. I even commented in one of my videos, I was like, did I just save all the kids without being caught? I was like, you better believe it. It was just like a great gaming achievement just trying to save all the kids. I saved all the kids, and it felt good. I can't deny, because the kids were so sympathetic. Horrible voice acting, but the kids were sympathetic that I actually went out of my way to save them, even though they were. Sadly, the kids were just making too many sounds and gave our positions away. So that's why I killed everybody so I can get the kids to save it, and without any cause. I have to say, the third level in particular, trying to get the kids away from the dogs was just near impossible. Damn impossible. Damn impossible. Yeah, and what was another positive about Two Dark 2? Besides its presentation and its meticulous, kind of clever way of strategizing just to get through the level design was actually pretty good. I did like that the level design it was very level designs. I did like that. So we went from an amusement park, definitely getting creepy vibes, to pretty much a sex dungeon, and then from a sex dungeon, then we went to a cult lair, then we went to an actual butcher shop, and also went to a cannibal house. But yeah, that kind of adds to the presentation too. But I do like that every environment was different, and I like that no environment was the same. There were some diverse, very location, and plus the way that you kind of it's still in the meticulous detail. I just felt like the level design was actually really well done when I wasn't falling into the abyss or chasm or getting spiked or crushed and all that, but it kept me guessing. I had to always change up my strategy because I knew the environment for the next level was never going to be the same. I think for 6 levels, I think all of them were fantastic in terms of the level design. That's saying something for Too Dark, even though the gameplay does not help it at all. I can't say anything about the music like I do for some games because it's really not there. It's creepy circus music at the beginning that really knows what you're going to be in for. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think it earned its 7 out of 10. I think the pretty much, and I can't say the narrative got like any better. I think it got more serious when my cat freaking died in the Too Dark, but it still wasn't the strongest narrative. I think it ended the ending fit for how it started. Yeah, I think 7 out of 10 is pretty fitting for Too Dark. I don't think they really couldn't change anything for this. And this is definitely a one-off game, so there's definitely not going to be a sequel because the way they ended it, there's definitely no loose ends. I did I feel satisfied? No, I did not feel satisfied for this game. Can I recommend it? Can't recommend it. Especially if you want your game to give you like a fair advantage in terms of the stealth, this is not the game for you. This is going to only be available on PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium for pretty much till April 18. So there was a reason why I had to rush to finish this because I'm going to be pretty busy from the 4th through the 19th, so I really won't have time to actually focus on Too Dark. Am I going to Well, can I make it... Should I make it a negative about the replayability? There is no replayability. Once you get done with the game, you're never coming back to it. You can just literally watch my walkthrough or playthrough if you want. I can't highly recommend this game, and I can't say don't try it, don't buy it, don't play it. No, I would say for the short time we got it on PlayStation Plus, go ahead and give it a try, but if you get frustrated from just dying a lot on the first level, I will understand if you won't touch it again. It's kind of how I feel. My tone kind of spells it out how I'm just kind of like, I wasn't apprehensive about this game, I was just half and half. I'm not satisfied that I'm done with the game, but I'm glad it's done. I'm just not satisfied with it. So, I think that's the gist of my score. So, of course, leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Now to move on to the interesting game, the Wonderful 101. And stay tuned.